Hello, everyone. We're just going to take a few seconds just to allow everyone to join us today and get logged on. Okie dokie. So now that everyone is logging on, welcome to UC Berkeley's Engineering Visit Online. We're so glad that you can join us today, especially with everything happening in the world today, no matter where you are. We know that you're going through a lot, so we're very happy to have you, and just hope you enjoy this tour as we give it. Very quickly, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Casey. I am a senior studying chemistry. And some of my involvement on campus is campus ambassadors, so like giving tours like this, and also Rally Committee, which is a very spirited group on campus. And that's just a little bit about me. And so now we can move on into our actual tour. So first, some housekeeping. So this is a 40 to 45-minute presentation. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please throw them in the question and answer. We disabled the chat, so anything you want us to see, please just send to the question and answer. And we have campus ambassadors in the back end that are ready to answer your questions, as well as our two guides will answer it live at the end. There are also some polls that will be coming up, so please answer the polls so we know exactly who we're talking to, because you can't turn on your cameras. The polls are a nice way to get us engaged with you. Also, this tour is recorded, but a different version of this tour will be on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch this tour or get some more information, you can go to our YouTube and watch that. And also, this tour is just the engineering overview. Our regular campus tour is earlier in the day. This is just for engineering. And so if you go to visit.berkeley.edu to find other information about everything else Berkeley, but this is mostly just around the engineering perspective at Berkeley. And also this is from the student perspective, so there is no financial aid or admissions info, but if you do need help finding any of that, or if you would like to know more about that, you can ask in the Q&A and we can direct you to the proper resources. And then also, again, the presentation will be at the beginning, and then the question and answer will be at the end of the tour. And so we'll do our best to answer all of your questions, and please ask a lot of questions. So with that, we can move on over and introduce our two ambassadors for the day, are Kristina and Paulina.
Hello everyone, welcome to Berkeley. My name is Kristina. I use the she, her, hers pronoun series. I am from Whittier, California, so Southern California. I'm a junior, just starting off, first week of school. I major in industrial engineering and operations research. Also, like Casey, I'm part of the UC Rally Committee, very spirited guides you have today. Also part of Hispanics in Engineering and Science and Society of Women Engineers as well. As my more academic extracurriculars, and then also Housekeeping, which is a program for high school students that are interested in learning about business or getting involved in business early on. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and then I'll let Paulina take it over.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on this engineering tour. My name is Paulina. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. I'm originally from Vista, California, which is a small town in northern San Diego, and I am a sophomore as of this week. I'm majoring in political science with a intended minor in music. And also, like Kristina and Casey, I'm a member of the UC Rally Committee, so we've got several of us here today. I'm also doing graphic design for a Berkeley student startup that's called Quokka Brew. I'm also involved in Cal Student Philanthropy, which is a group that encourages philanthropy for the school here on campus.
Yeah, so thank you, Paulina. And again, we're just going to keep on welcoming you guys. We have a poll that just popped up asking, who are you? So let us know if you are a high school student, middle school student, prospective transfer student. We just want to get to know who our audience is today. On the screen, you can see that kind of what normal life is for students. Athletics are a really big part of school spirits. On the left-hand side, we have California Memorial Stadium with our football team. We also are a 152-year-old institution. So this year we're celebrating 150 years since women were first admitted into campus. And then on the right-hand side, you can also see our 150 Years of Light logo. middle of the screen, you can see our campanile, which is kind of the main landmark of campus. It is our clock and bell tower that stands 307 feet tall, and is just like an iconic part of campus. And then you can also just see some students hanging out around campus, and then the inside of one of our engineering buildings. So yeah, it seems like most of us are rising high school seniors. So congratulations for all of you for coming. This is your first step into applying, and hope you all decide to apply into College of Engineering. Sorry, this is me again. So we're gonna going over a few topics. We're gonna do a brief overview of Berkeley, then we're gonna go straight into academics and engineering specific information. We're also gonna talk a little bit about student life, resources, labs, makerspaces, research, basically everything that students do outside of class. And then finally ending off with the legacy that Berkeley and the College of Engineering has had on us and also just the world.
Awesome, thank you, Kristina. So before we go into anything engineering specific, we'll do a little bit of an overview of Berkeley as a whole. Berkeley was founded in 1868, making it the oldest and the first of the University of California system, the UC system. For that reason, we have several different names. We go by UC Berkeley, University of California, and most commonly Cal, because we are the first. We are the first of the 9 undergraduate schools. Our mascot is the golden bear. There's no such thing as a golden bear. It's actually modeled after the grizzly bear, but we call ourselves the California Golden Bears. And just for a reference, our campus size, we have about 31,000 undergraduates, and of those 31,000, about 3,700 are engineers. And then we have 11,000 graduate students, and about 2,000 of those graduate students are engineers, just so you know about the relative sizes of how many engineers we have in our upper and lower divisions.
Yeah, so of those almost 32,000 undergraduate students that Paulina talked about, we're all divided into 5 undergraduate colleges. So the one we're going to be focusing on today is the College of Engineering. There are 11 majors in the College of Engineering. We're also going to be talking about the College of Chemistry because the College of Chemistry does have 1 engineering major located inside of it, and a total of 3 majors overall. So we're going to briefly go over the College of Chemistry as well, just to give you a little bit of insight in case you're interested in that as well. We have another additional 3 colleges. We have the College of Letters and Science, which covers a really broad range of subjects. So even if you're interested in engineering, it might be a really good college to go into because it has a lot of STEM majors as well, and has about 75% of our student population, our largest college overall. Our Rausser College of Natural Resources focuses on more environmental majors and just majors focusing on sustainability and that sort of topics. And then lastly, our smallest college, our College of Environmental Design, focuses on architecture, city and regional planning, landscaping, but also focuses again on the environment. Most of our majors on campus try to keep that environmental impact kind of in the back of their heads and just try to make everything more environmentally friendly for the world. So we're going to be going over engineering and chemistry only, but we also have other general virtual visits that you can watch as well that give an overview of all the colleges. And then, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, if you are interested in the College of Engineering or College of Chemistry, it is always better to apply directly into those colleges, just because it is by no means guaranteed that if you get into one of the other 3 colleges, you can transfer in. I know a lot of friends that have done it, but it is a process. So if you're thinking about, oh, should I apply into one of the other colleges and then think of transferring, it's always better to just apply directly. So yeah, I think that's it. And then we'll keep on talking more about the College of Engineering specifically.
So just a general overview of the College of Engineering and kind of what its culture is like. The mission statement is transforming the lives of students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change, and expand knowledge and create transformative technology through original research to tackle the world's biggest challenges. And I think that really sums up what the College of Engineering is like. There are some really amazing people in this college, and a big part of it is is just how can we impact the community, and what can we do and study to like give back to the world. And I think that's what makes the College of Engineering so special and amazing. It's a globally ranked engineering program, and the people there are really just top-notch people. And you can see on the left of your screen, we have some students as well as OSCE. And as far as the culture, we do have this general culture at Berkeley of being change makers, challenging the status quo, entrepreneurship, and research and innovation. And I think this applies really intensely to our College of Engineering. As well as our tenet of community, which includes compassion, passion, and social justice, spirit and pride, and diversity and excellence. And in the following slides, you'll see some of like the research, the clubs, and the students, and what is actually going on in the College of Engineering that really is making a really impactful change on the world, and having students actually really get out there and just make a good impact on people's lives.
Yeah, so here's a quick overview of what majors are in the College of Engineering. So you'll just see a poll pop up asking what engineering discipline you're interested in. So please fill that out, just again, so we can cater the tour towards you. But you can see there's a pie chart on the right-hand side of your screen. And usually these are the typical results we get in the poll as well. So most of our students are interested in electrical engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, or bioengineering. Those take up almost like 3/4 of the college. And then we have a lot of smaller departments, such as like the Department of Material Science, nuclear engineering, and the undeclared engineering major as well. We're gonna go into all of them specifically, but we have a total of 11 majors. All are ranked in the top 9 globally for their respective major. So that's something incredible that you don't get at a lot of other engineering schools. The engineering school as a whole, Berkeley is ranked 3rd overall globally. So you're getting some of the best professors, the best education in the world. And then also a really good thing about already being in the College of Engineering is that you have the capacity to switch majors between the college. So especially for those of you that are interested in electrical engineering, computer science, you cannot transfer into that major unless you are already in the college. And even if you're already in the college, it is by no means guaranteed, but at least you have the chance to apply to transfer into it if you change your mind and want to major in that. And overall, just switching majors once you're in the college is a lot easier, but again, by no means guaranteed. It is always better to apply directly into the major you're interested in. But some of you might not know what you're interested in. So we have the undeclared engineering path as well that we'll talk about later. That kind of gives you that leeway of not knowing what you want to do, but also making sure that you can declare a major once you arrive at Berkeley. So after students finish their 4 years and finish their major here at Berkeley, most of them go into industry and go somewhere into the job market. And there is a small, I'd say probably 25% of our students do go into grad school. So that may be at another like distinguished engineering school, but also a lot of students will stay at Berkeley or in the Bay Area, schools around us. Berkeley has a 4+1 program. So it is 4 years of undergrad to get your bachelor's here. And then during the fall of your senior year, you apply into this program, and then starting your spring, you start to take graduate courses and are able to finish your master's in engineering at Berkeley in a year. So it's a really unique program to Berkeley. A lot of other colleges have it as well, but because we have such a strong graduate school as well, it's really nice that students are able to take advantage of that if they're already doing undergrad here. And then we do have some select students that go straight into research. This is going to be more for the engineering sciences kind of side of engineering. A lot of our students continue to do research. I know personally students that have done after graduating have been hired by the Berkeley National Lab up in the Berkeley Hills and have done research there. We're near Silicon Valley, so there's always opportunities for research there as well. So yeah, after graduating, most students, just by having a degree from Berkeley Engineering, you have a lot of options on what you can do, industry, grad school, research. So yeah, with that, now we're gonna go specifically into what majors we have and what they entail.
So we're starting with some of our first three major engineering majors here. On the left side, the right side of your screen, you can see our Echeverry Hall, the Seeing is Believing project, as well as Stanley Hall. So the first major that we have is actually Undeclared. And basically what happens is that you enter into the College of Engineering without having declared any of the other majors. And I guess this gives you a little bit more leeway into exploring like the options as far as engineering classes and things like that. You do have to declare by the fourth semester, but that does give students who aren't sure what specific area of engineering they want to study in yet a little bit of time to kind of test out the waters and see what works best for them. There's also introductory seminars, for these undeclared engineering majors to help them have that kind of exploration. So if that is something you're interested, highly recommend that. We have the nuclear engineering major. This is one of our smallest majors, but still very prestigious. There's focuses in research and development, as well as energy and radiation. And some of the topics that students have studied in or have gone on to study in nuclear engineering include electrical power generation, things like for cancer treatment, medical isotope production, and even working with Homeland Security to create things for them that would help in the nuclear field. And next we have bioengineering, which I personally really like. Bioengineering also has a lot of research and development and focusing on biomedicals, information technology, and genetics. It applies engineering principles to biological systems. And one example of this would be bacteria that research that was done is bacteria engineered to produce certain chemicals. There's been bioengineering research into different kinds of medical imaging technologies and actually creating organs just by making tissues. If you know who Jennifer Doudna is, she works on the CRISPR method. She does research here at Berkeley. Really amazing stuff. Actually, in Stanley Hall, which you can see on your screen, that is one of the hot spots for the biomedical research facilities. So there is a lot of opportunities for these students, not only in the classroom, but also to explore different research and development technologies with professors and with professionals on campus.
Yeah, so I actually started out as an undeclared engineering student, which Paulina went over, and now I am an industrial engineering and operations research student. So this major focuses on complex systems operation, making processes more effective, efficient, and safe. Overall, this is a very math-based engineering major, and I really like that about the major. It focuses more so on taking stuff that other engineers have already made, other things that engineers have already kind of thought of, buildings that they've made, and just making it more efficient. So going into a company and saying, okay, well, the process time to make this product on your assembly line right now is taking 5 minutes. How can we cut that down and make it more effective so you can make more money? Stuff like that. Some of the companies that a lot of our students that have graduated from this program have gone into, Boeing, Amazon, Disneyland, a lot of airline companies, basically any company that always wants to make things more effective. And then also just figuring out the math behind like flight patterns or figuring the math out behind like assembly lines. All of that is what industrial engineers and operations research students do day to day, like every time you're at a stoplight, and hopefully those stoplights, you're not running into a red light every time. Industrial engineers are kind of in charge of timing that out and making sure that everyone gets to like where they have to be in a timely manner. So industrial engineering lab can be seen on the picture, the left side picture on the top. So that's an IEOR lab right there. Also in Hearst Mining Circle, there's a lot of fairs that happen. So you'll be able to, for industrial engineering, and then also for material science and engineering, you're going to be able to go to fairs and seek opportunities for research, internships, and then job after graduating there. The material science and engineering major focuses on desirable material properties, function, environmental impact, feasibility, and cost. So a lot of the classes that these students take are not math-based. They're a lot more science-based. So I know my friends in this major take courses that study the chemistry behind materials and learn more about the properties of materials and why they behave the way that they do. So these are the people that decide why a building should be made out of one material rather than the other, why we can use this material instead of the next to make things more environmentally friendly. And yeah, overall, they kind of are not the people that build stuff, but the people that figure out how to build it and what materials to use. So some examples of things that students do during their daily lives in this major, we're going to talk about competition teams, but a lot of material science and engineering students take place in our concrete canoe team, where they dedicate a whole semester to making a canoe out of concrete and making sure that it floats, and then taking it to Tahoe and getting inside of it. So it's a really fun project for them because they get to hang out with friends and like geek out over what they do every day, but they're also learning through it, and they can use those same principles they use in this club after they graduate and go into some postgraduate path. And yeah, they also have one of the most beautiful buildings on campus. So Hearst Mining Circle, which is a picture on the right-hand side, houses our material science and engineering department.
Okay, moving on to our next majors. We have civil and environmental engineering and mechanical engineering. So civil environmental engineering focuses on data, natural environments and structures, as well as sustainability, infrastructure, and control systems. I think one kind of big part of Berkeley is that actually part of our campus is located on a fault line, which is the Hayward Fault. So earthquakes are often something that's like brought up just generally in campus culture. And as far as civil and environmental engineering, that is like one of the things that they do focus on, like how can we build structures that are earthquake safe, especially taking into consideration we are on a fault line. They have these special labs that really go to investigate these kinds of things to see how they can build things that are more earthquake proof. There is a two-story testing site that is like evaluating things like the Golden Gate Bridge and the California highways to see how those structures are really safe. And I think it's a great major because, as it does say, it takes environmental engineering takes into different factors of environment. That's also something that's really big at Berkeley. And how can we create sustainable and really good structures that benefit everyone. Mechanical engineering has different multidisciplinary projects, as well as material and machine design and application. Excuse me. And a lot of what happens in the mechanical engineering major is centered around different things like robotics, mechatronics, micro and nano systems, automated manufacturing, automated transportation, computer mechanics, and internal combustion. Just a fun story. I was actually friends with someone who had a friend who was a mechanical engineering major, and they got locked out of their room once, and he created this structure that was made of just like string, cardboard, and clothes hangers, and was actually able to stick it under the door and open the door just from his knowledge. And I was like, wow, that is so amazing that there's really a lot of like innovation and like critical thinking that happens in this major, and evaluating like what kind of structures work and what kind of structures don't. On the right side of your screen, you can see some of our programs. Cal Steel Bridge Team, which is in the top left hand, O'Brien Hall, Echeverry Hall again, and some environmental engineering research. Cal Steel Bridge is really, really cool. I've had friends who are in Steel Bridge, and this goes back to the civil engineering aspect. And what they do is they actually, they have a team, and they will make a 20-foot bridge just by themselves. And then they'll actually go and compete in a huge national competition to see like basically who has the best engineered bridge. And different softwares that they use for Steel Bridge include like AutoCAD, SAP 2000, SolidWorks, and Fusion 360. So there's like a lot of really cool things going on as far as like clubs. And I know people who have done that have had just a blast doing it. So it's a really cool opportunity for students to take advantage of.
Yeah, I had never heard that story, Paulina, from you. But yeah, Berkeley engineers are always coming up with things on how to get into their room or how to innovate or how to make a steel bridge. So we're a very innovative breed. Another subset of engineering majors that we have is our engineering science. They focus on, they have energy engineering, energy mathematics and statistics, engineering physics, and environmental engineering science. So we have the civil and environmental engineering major, but we also have a completely like engineering science major as well for those that don't want the civil engineering aspect of it. The engineering science disciplines are a lot more of interdisciplinary kind of majors where, because they are such small departments, I think they're like a small like snippet of like the pie chart. You get to do a lot with the major and kind of pick out your classes. And if you're interested in energy engineering, you can kind of pick what side of energy engineering you want to go into and what branch you want to focus on. So yeah, you get to have a lot more flexibility in your classes. Your classes aren't necessarily all picked out for you. Aside from that, they focus on green technology, energy systems, sciences, math, biophysics. So they focus a lot on the hard sciences that like all the other engineers do too, but they focus a lot on kind of the environmental impact of these as well, which is something really cool that they get to take classes in that as well. Also, the department doesn't have a specific building, but you can see on the left-hand side picture, that is Mclaughlin Hall. Mclaughlin Hall focuses, it's kind of like a center for everything engineering. So a lot of engineering science classes or like departments advisors will be in there. We have the Engineering Student Services Center, which is in the top right-hand corner, and also Kresge Library, which is not specific to this major for all majors, but of course, engineering science majors will always be in here studying and just like making study groups. It's a very like collaborative library. You go in there and there's like spaces where students are just like hardcore just studying, but also spaces where students are doing group projects. There's a lot of group projects that happen within the college. So a good meetup place for that is Kresge Library. But yeah, that's a little bit about engineering science majors as well.
Thanks, Kristina. And now I believe this is our last major of the College of Engineering. We have Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, most commonly known as EECS. If you ever hear EECS, you can know that it's this major. And some things about EECS that we focus on in the major. There's a lot of technological problem solving, collaboration in industry, computer-aided design, microwave quantum, and optical electronic circuits. So there's a lot of cool things going on in EECS. I'll go over in a minute the difference a little bit between EECS and actually regular computer science. I will say it is a more technical focus. Obviously, it's in the College of Engineering. You're having a lot of hands-on experience, a lot of hardware experience. Right here on the right side of the screen, you can actually see some of the halls that are most commonly used for both EECS and a little bit of computer science as well. Corey Hall, Soda Hall, and the Electronics Lab, which is in Corey Hall. And a lot of our buildings for computer science and engineering are actually located over by our engineering complex. Unfortunately, right now we can't show you the engineering complex because we are virtual, but that is all really on the north side of campus. And you'll find a lot of engineering students there when they're doing their major focus things. They like to stay on that side of campus. So actually a lot of engineering students do tend to live on the north side of campus just because that is closer to where everything is. So I'll talk a little bit about EECS and computer science. So a lot of people are usually ask like, what is the difference between these two majors? And there's a few important differences. To go over EECS, it is a bachelor's of science versus computer science, which is just a bachelor of arts, excuse me. The computer science is located in our College of Letters and Sciences, which is more of like a liberal arts college versus the actual College of Engineering. As far as the major, it is like direct admission, so you will apply directly into the major for electrical engineering versus in the College of Letters and Sciences, you will just apply an undeclared and then later declare your major once you have fulfilled those requirements. So I definitely say it's it's more specific in that sense. As I said, EECS does incorporate hardware and software. So it's like you can see in the picture, a lot more of the actual making the thing versus computer science, which is a lot more just like programming, basically using different softwares, learning different techniques like that. You're mostly just typing on the computer versus you're actually doing it when you're in EECS. There are 4 breadth courses for the major for electrical engineering, as well as ethics and specific math and physics requirements. And for computer science, because it is in the College of Letters and Sciences, you will have 7 breadth courses. There's a little bit more flexibility. A lot of people will do a computer science major with a data science minor, which is a new department that has come up in the last couple of years. And computer science is also an impacted major, so you'll need a specific GPA to actually be able to declare the major in the set classes that you can see, 61A and 61B, as well as CS 70. Whereas electrical engineering, you are in the major once you have been admitted to the College of Engineering. So there is like different things that you have to balance when evaluating, like what kind of computer science do I want to study? Do I want to have the more hands-on, the more building aspect of it, or am I looking for more of just like programming, software creation and stuff like that? And so those are the main differences between those 2 majors.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paulina. Those questions always come up, so good to have that. We have another poll popping up asking where are you joining us from, so please go ahead and fill that out. I'm also going to talk about other opportunities other than specifically the majors we went over. We have joint majors, which are open to all College of Engineering students. Joint majors are very similar to what you would find in like a double major in a lot of other colleges, but they are kind of pre-planned programs. So they already have like a set list of classes you need to take to be able to graduate from that joint major in 4 years. Doing 4 years in the College of Engineering and, you know, getting a degree is already a lot of classes and a lot of work. So when doing a double major, it's always really good to try to see if there's a joint major program already available, because those joint major programs already have advisors specifically for it, and they can kind of walk you through what each semester should look like to make sure you can graduate on time and take all those classes on time without overwhelming yourself. We also have minors. I believe every major we talked about today has a minor. We also have some minors that we didn't talk about today. The mechanical engineering department has an aerospace minor. So even though we don't have an aerospace engineering major, we have a minor for it. So even if you didn't see your specific area of study, there's always minors you can do as well as majoring in the College of Engineering. We have certificates. We have the Design Innovation Certificate and the Certificate for Entrepreneurship and Technology. So like specifically for me, I know a lot of friends in industrial engineering and operations research who do the entrepreneurship and technology certificate, because already I think 4 of the classes we have to take to graduate with the major are already part of the certificate. So it's a matter of just taking a broader set of classes and learning more about stuff outside your discipline, and you get a certificate for it. So yeah, it's less classes than a minor, but it's still a great way to expand what you know. And also just learn more about, like, if you're interested in design, but your engineering major doesn't really cover that, you're able to do a certificate without like overwhelming your course load and able to like have that in your back pocket. And then lastly, we have the Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology program. This program you apply when you are a high school senior, so that's most of you today. If you are interested in basically double majoring or doing a dual program between engineering and business, is a great opportunity. You graduate after your 4 years with a Bachelor's of Science in the engineering of your choice, and also a business administration degree as well. So the Haas School of Business is one of our graduate schools, but they do offer undergraduate programs, and this is one of the ones they offer. It is a competitive program, but the good thing about it is that if students are not admitted into the program, their application is reviewed a second time just for the College of Engineering. So even if you're like, oh, I don't know if I should apply, because even if I don't get in, I still want to be in the College of Engineering, don't worry. Your application will be reviewed a second time just for the College of Engineering, and there's also other pathways to get into the Haas School of Business. So yeah, those are the other opportunities. It seems like most of you are from Central California or a state in the Eastern time zone. So that's actually not typical of Berkeley. I think most students come from Southern California. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
So I'll be talking a little bit about the College of Chemistry. The College of Chemistry is actually the only college to have an engineering major that's outside the College of Engineering. So just a little bit about this college. It's pretty small. There's only about 1,000 students. And just like the College of Engineering, you would apply directly into the major you wanted to be in. It is ranked #1 globally. We have an amazing College of Chemistry. As you can see, we have discovered 16 elements, the most of any college ever. These include things like berkelium, californium, seaborgium, named after some of our notable figures from Cal. There are 3 majors, so we have chemistry, chemical biology, and then chemical engineering, which is the important one to know if you are interested in chemical engineering. And there's a lot of crossover for the chemical engineering major with the College of Engineering. You actually do have to take classes in the College of Engineering to complete the chemical engineering major. And of course, welcome to take more classes should that fit in your schedule. So even though it's not technically in the College of Engineering, it does incorporate a lot of those engineering aspects with chemistry. So it's really cool. It's like kind of the best of both worlds. It's an amazing major. I cannot emphasize it more. It is just a really great major, and it is part of like one of the top 2 ranked like schools in the world. So highly encourage you to check out chemical engineering if you have any interest in chemistry or engineering.
Yeah, so now that we've went over like every possible engineering major in or outside of the college, we're going to talk briefly about structuring class sizes. So most of our classes that engineering students take are going to have a lecture section, and then also a discussion section, and then possibly a lab. Lecture is going to be an opportunity for 1 or 2 professors to basically kind of teach you the like broad ideas and kind of like the overall like image of what you should be learning. And then we also have discussion sections, which are led by graduate student instructors, which in which you're able to like take quizzes, able to ask specific questions. Sometimes a lot of our lectures are on the like larger side, like the chemistry lecture I took for like introductory general chemistry was about 350 students. So sometimes it was a little bit hard to just like raise your hand and ask the professor something. They do like let students just raise their hand and do that. Sometimes it's intimidating though. So then when you have your discussion section, you're able to do that. And it's just 25 or 20 of you in a room with a graduate student instructor. So you're able to easily ask those questions, take quizzes, and then just go over like specifically things that happened in lecture that you may have not understood and go like take a deeper dive into it. And then we also have lab courses. This is going to be primarily for chemistry and physics courses, but there's going to be lab components in which it's more of a hands-on experiment into what you learned in lecture and what you discussed in your discussion section. And now it's time to do like projects on it and learn what you should do with it. There's also labs for computer science courses as well, so you can get the opportunity to code and do certain projects with other teammates. And both your professors and graduate student instructors are going to have office hours. Recommend whatever college you go to, take advantage of office hours, because a lot of the time, especially your first year, you might be intimidated to go to them, but professors are just like sitting there in their office waiting for students to come in, and a lot of times students won't come in. They'll only come in when it's like midterms or final season, but other than that, they're kind of just sitting there and they want to answer your questions. So take advantage of that. As I said, class size is ranged. Class size is going to be dependent on your major. So the largest class size I've had, our largest lecture hall on campus sits about, I think, 700 to 750 students. So as an engineering student, especially if you're in the EECS department, you're probably going to have at least 1, 2, maybe 3 classes in there that are going to be like large lecture based, and then you're going to split up into discussion sections. But I've also taken engineering courses where there's only 15 of us in the class. So it really depends on what classes you're taking. Introductory courses are going to be larger, like computer science courses are going to be larger as well. But if you're in a lab class, or if you are in a upper division, like for me, upper division IEOR class, they're going to be a lot smaller most of the time, or at least around 50 students, which is a lot more manageable. For these large lecture classes, we use iClickers and in-class interaction. So iClicker is basically like a remote control in which you can interact with the professor. He'll put a question up on the screen, kind of like the polls we're doing today. You'll pick your answer, and then the professor will show the results on screen. And if there's any discrepancies, if it's like 50-50, then you'll be able to discuss with the students around you, and the professor will walk around the class as well and talk to students, and then you'll answer again. And it's an opportunity for you to work out problems in class and be able to have that interactive element even in a really large class. Aside from that, we have a lot of resources. We have the Student Learning Center, which has a Center for Academic Excellence as well, which is basically a tutoring center specifically for the College of Engineering. Engineering Student Services as well. You have your advisors in there. You have like mental health advisors as well. There's a lot of just adults and professionals in that office that are just there to help you and to assist you throughout your 4 years. We have 4-year academic advisors, so that means from the day you step on campus until the day you graduate, you get to interact a lot with your advisor, and they get to learn a lot about you and you about them. And something that is kind of unique to having a smaller college in like such a large school is that every advisor is going to be specifically assigned to one engineering discipline. So your advisor also knows a lot about your specific major as well. So yeah, I think that's all about structure and how kind of classes work. But if you have any questions, feel free to just like put a question in the Q&A.
Thanks, Kristina. So we're going to talk a little bit about student diversity in the College of Engineering. You can see some of the things that are happening here on the slide. We have an engineering career conference. We have really great career outreach at Berkeley as a whole, but especially in the College of Engineering. First generation mentor program, T-Prep, and Kresge Library, which is one of my friend's favorite libraries. It's amazing. So there are way more programs that can be listed here than we can even fit on the slide, but these are just some of the ones that we wanted to highlight for you today that are pretty important. One of them is our WISE theme program, or Women in Science and Engineering theme program. So during a typical year, we have Stern Hall, which is a all women's dorm, and this WISE theme program would actually happen there. And it's really cool because the theme program like incorporates aspects of not only living with people who have similar interests, but also grouping together, having discussions, doing things together, talking about topics that are impacting women in science and engineering. So that's a really great resource that we have. We have the Black Engineering and Science Student Association, Hispanic Engineers and Scientists, which I believe Kristina's in. We have the Education Opportunities Program for STEM, for students who need extra resources, who have not gotten the support that they need in the past. The school is here for them. The College of Engineering really has amazing tutoring and all kinds of resources for those students. We also have the pre-engineering program, PrEP. So not only happening in our college, but a lot of outreach into the community for young students, high school, middle school students. There's a lot of opportunities for current engineering students to get involved professionally in different industries, and also to give back and to do tutoring and outreach to local communities. So there is just an abundance of student diversity that we want to highlight, and there are many more programs. Recommend that you check out CalLink, check out the engineering homepage, the Berkeley Engineering homepage as well.
Yes, as Paulina said, I reiterate it, make sure you join clubs, especially that are related to your like academic interests, because it just makes it a lot more fun to like make study groups and just like learn about other people in your major. So we also have other clubs and competition teams as well. So we have the CalSol team, which it can be seen on the bottom left-hand side picture. Steel Bridge team we talked about, the Berkeley Formula Racing team, also really cool team that we have on campus. The concrete canoe team can be found on the upper left-hand picture. We also have a Society of Women Engineers, CalHacks, Pioneers in Engineering, which reach out to like middle and high school students and help them through that journey of like getting involved in STEM. And then we also have department honor societies. So a lot of, in the College of Engineering, these competition teams are really popular because it's a way to be creative, do research, and kind of learn about your major while also having fun and building a community out of it. So yeah, very popular, encourage all students. There's at least one competition team that has to do with every discipline in the College of Engineering. So you're able to, you know, take those lessons that you learn from introductory courses and apply them to something really cool that you can talk about later in life for like research, internships, all of that. And it also helps with mentorship as well. If the clubs I've been involved in throughout like College of Engineering are really good because you got to find mentors and get to help find people that have gone through your journey, gone through your major, and like seek advice from them. So yeah, aside from being really cool and building community, it also offers a lot of resources for like after college and seeking like internships, jobs, all of that.
Thanks, Kristina. So we're going on to some building highlights. Honestly, the engineering buildings, just from personal experience, are some of the like most beautiful and amazing buildings on campus. We do have a lot of like really classical looking buildings, but these buildings just look so fresh in my opinion. And there's lots and lots of labs and maker spaces that students are able to access to like get that hands-on experience, which is so cool, I think. So we have the Sudarcha Hall, which is the home of the Citrus program, which stands for Center for Information Technology Research in the Interest of Society. And that is a really amazing program where students are able to participate in active research, get that experience with working with professors and professional staff. We have Jacobs Hall, which houses the Jacobs Institute for Design and Innovation, a lot of really cool programs for students to take a part of. And Hesse Hall, Mechanical Engineering Machine Shop. I think in previous slides, you could actually see some students doing some metalworking and some other kinds of technical building. And we have Davis Hall, which is for civil engineering, and it has a construction bay, which is super cool. You can also see on the slide in the top left-hand corner, we have the Richmond Field Station. That is just a really beautiful view. And then you can also see here Jacobs Hall and Davis Hall. And it's really cool. I've had friends who've actually done 3D printing in these halls. They just go in and they can literally 3D print anything, which I think is super cool. So as an engineering student, even just as a regular student in a different college, you have access to these halls. And there's a lot of great resources there for students to get technical hands-on experience with all kinds of research, projects, working with professors, even just things for homework and classes.
Yeah, so I already talked a little bit about research, but want to go over it again. So we have the Undergraduate Research Apprenticeship Program, which is open to all Berkeley students, but if engineering students want a way to get involved in research, especially during their first years, is a great like kind of intro into research. At the beginning of each semester, there's all these projects that are uploaded by professors, graduate students, people of the Berkeley community, and you're able to apply into 3 of those programs and see which you get accepted into. We also have Beehive, which is kind of like a collection of like engineering research opportunities. The Berkeley National Lab that I talked about earlier on. Sudarcha Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology also has a Collider Cup in which it's actually a like actual program that happens for like famous physicists, mathematicians, scientists, and I think it happens like Switzerland. So we have our own version of it where students are able to present their research and or like club competition teams and present what they've done during the semester, during the year. And we also have undergrad and professional programs slash research. So yeah, research is a big part of Berkeley. We're one of like #1 public research university. So really big pro of being at Berkeley, and you can see OSCE doing research and you can see just all the different study spaces and research opportunities available to us.
So really quick, just to highlight the amazing legacy that Berkeley Engineering really has, some notable figures and alumni. Rube Goldberg, if you've ever, I think most people who have been to high school have at one point done a Rube Goldberg machine where they make all the things fall over. He was at one point at Berkeley. Dean Liu, instructor, researcher, and administrator. She was one of our first female deans of the College of Engineering, really amazing. Shafi Goldwasser, she won the Turing Prize, which is basically like the Nobel Prize for computer science. So just really amazing. Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple. He's less known or maybe less popular than Steve Jobs, but he actually did like most of the technical creation of Apple. So he's really to thank for the amazing products we have today. And of course, this year we are celebrating 150 years of women, especially 150 years of women in engineering. It's really amazing that women were basically admitted to Cal just 2 years after we created. So we're really proud of that and all the progress that has come forward, especially with these amazing alumni in engineering.
Okay, thank you guys so much. And so now we can move into the question and answer portion of the tour. So the very first question is for you, Paulina, and it is, what was your freshman experience like, and how did you make friends within your classes?
Oh, that's a great question. Personally, I had an amazing freshman experience. We always start out freshman year with orientation, so that was a great way. I'm actually an orientation leader this year. Orientation really helped me get my bearings in the sense of like understanding the school, understanding kind of the campus culture. And then as far as classes, I think classes are super amazing in the way that they're structured with a main lecture and then a smaller discussion section, because there's like these lectures that can have up to like, I don't know, 700 people, but in a discussion section of only about 20 to 30 people, you really get to know people, make friends, make group chats. That's been a really helpful tool for me to actually get to know people within my major and get to make study groups for finals and things like that. And as far as just like social life, I think there's just so many opportunities as far as clubs. You've seen some of our amazing engineering clubs, even though there's these clubs that focus on maybe like academic aspects. Almost all clubs incorporate some aspect of like socializing, getting to know people. And I highly recommend getting involved in clubs to heighten your freshman experience, even in this strange period where we are on Zoom. It's really cool to be able to make those connections, especially with people who share common interests with you.
Cool, thank you so much. Wonderful answer. And so now the next question is coming to you, Kristina, and it is, can we double major two different majors from two different colleges?
Yeah, so you absolutely can. I know a lot of people who have majored in the College of Engineering, and then also like College of Letters and Science is always a really popular one, just because, like I said earlier, they have like 95 majors and minors, so it's like anything and everything is in there. So I know one actually Rallycom alum that was an engineer, Sam Kruger, he did mechanical engineering, I think, and then he did a creative writing minor. I don't think it was a double major, but that kind of helped him out because just having a kind of like hard sciences major is really good, but having that different perspective of creative writing and having like a more humanities-based major is also really good, because that isn't really typical of other engineering students. So he stood out in applications. He went to grad school, but he had a lot of like industry offers as well. So yeah, can totally do it. It is totally feasible. It's probably more feasible to do double major outside of the College of Engineering, like do something outside of the college and not do a double major inside, because it's a little bit like less hard sciences. So yeah, possible, and would recommend if you want to do a minor or a certificate or something else in another college.
Cool, thank you so much. And then one question that I believe both of you could answer, but first off with Kristina, what are some popular engineering majors, what are some popular engineering extracurriculars or some non-engineering extracurriculars, and how can you get a good balance of academic and social life?
I can start off with just a little bit. Because I'm not an engineering major, I'm not super familiar with a lot of the engineering extracurriculars. I can say I've heard very highly of Steelbridge, as I mentioned in their presentation. Also the Aerospace Club, the Aerospace Club. They do a lot of really cool construction things as well as fun activities. Personally for me, I do a lot of fun stuff like rally committee, Golden Bear orientation for freshmen, just a lot of like humanities-based things. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind when doing extracurriculars is like take on what you can handle. There is a lot of opportunities. There's so many different things to do, and you can get overwhelmed like taking on either a bunch of classes at once or a bunch of extracurriculars at once or both at once. So I try and see like how many units am I going to take this semester? Like how can I balance out my time in a good way to give both academic and extracurricular priority.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, totally agree with everything Paulina said. But if you're looking, as Paulina said, like Steel Bridge team, I think all of our competition teams are really popular and probably like some of the best ways to get involved in like engineering clubs, just because they have a really cool community and they're kind of like, you're doing academic stuff, but also having fun, which I think is the most important part of it. And you're doing hands-on experience. So yeah, get involved in like competition teams or like hands-on teams at Berkeley in engineering.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for those answers. And then finally, the last question was a great question, is what is your Berkeley story? Why did you decide to come to Berkeley? What made you stay, or what did you like about it, or what you didn't like? But anyway, what is your Berkeley story? So Paulina, if you can start that question.
Yeah, so when I was a senior and applying to different schools, I knew for sure that there was two things that I really wanted. I really wanted to study political science, and I really wanted to study it somewhere that had a really significant political history. And to me, that was Washington, D.C. So I really set my heart on going to Washington, D.C., East Coast, far away. And I was encouraged by my parents and counselors to kind of like check out more opportunities close to home, because obviously like California is a very big state and it's very different, as I have come to learn. So I applied to some UCs, including UC Berkeley, not really thinking much of it, not expecting to get in, just kind of seeing where I would eventually land. And I ended up getting in, and it was very exciting, but I had heard basically nothing about the school. I didn't know anything about it. So I came and I did a tour, and I was actually part of the overnight stay program where you can come and stay in the dorms, and it completely changed my perspective. I was able to learn like how spirited the campus was, which was something that was really amazing, but also about the really rich political history that has happened here, with the free speech movement in the 1960s, with Berkeley students really being very politically active. And it kind of fell in place for me because there's this amazing political science program. There's amazing political history on the campus. And I ended up thinking like, Berkeley is the place for me. It's got everything that I want, and really all the puzzle pieces fit in place for me to be here.
Yeah, love that story, Paulina. I too did not know a lot about Berkeley, so I applied to it just kind of because I had looked at like rankings of engineering schools, and I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna apply, I'll apply to some dream schools and see how it turns out. Didn't really expect to get in, but then to my surprise, I got an email in March with confetti, and it said, you're accepted to UC Berkeley, and I was like, okay, cool. Don't know anything about it, so I should probably visit it. So I came during a day called Cal Day, which is kind of like an open house for the school where all the clubs are kind of like all around our main like Sproul area. All the colleges have really cool like events going on, lectures going on. It's just like a kind of like Disneyland, but Cal themed. That day, there's just like everything and anything going on. So I came to that day, I came like super early. It was like on campus by like 8 a.m., stayed till like 4 p.m. and just like got a sense of what Berkeley was and what the people there were like, talked to people in the College of Engineering, professors, just other students, and just fell in love with the like academic atmosphere. But then I also took, I think it was a Spanish campus tour I took with my parents, and then it ended up on Lower Sproul. And during that time in Upper Sproul, there was a spirit rally happening. And I had been involved in marching band during high school, and I heard the Cal band, and I just fell in love with the school spirit as well. So I'd already fallen in love with the academics, fell in love with the school spirit, and they just had so many resources there for me, and everyone was just so welcoming. So that day kind of made me decide, oh, you know what? It's kind of the best situation academically, financially, and just like overall just a great school. So that day I SIR'd, and I'm enjoying it here. found really cool people here, like Paulina and Casey. They're like my best friends. So yeah, people are cool here. So please apply.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for your answers, and thank you to Kristina, besties. But so now we can finish off this tour. So as you can see, there's some multiple ways you can contact us now that the tour is over. You can follow us on our social media, or on social media. Our platform is at Visit UC Berkeley. You can also email us any questions you might have. If we didn't answer one of your questions, you can always email us, and the campus ambassador will reach out to you. Then we also have a Bear Talk blog where campus ambassadors tell their stories, just kind of like talk about what's happening with them. So you can go and check them out there. And like I said at the very beginning, there is a recorded virtual visit on our YouTube channel, not this one, but there's a different one up on our YouTube. So you can go and check that out. You can also see some of Berkeley's COVID-19 resources and like how we're dealing with the whole pandemic at coronavirus.berkeley.edu. Also, finally, it is our 150 years of admitting women into Berkeley, and you can read about that news story there. And then if you have anything else about engineering that you need, or you just want to go directly to the source, you can go to engineering.berkeley.edu. They have all the information that you could possibly ask for on their website. And finally, if you do want to see an actual normal like visits of campus, not just an engineering focused one, or if you want to go see a student panel or anything, you can sign up and see those at visit.berkeley.edu. So with that, thank you for visiting us today, and we can end it with a Go Bears on 3. So Paulina and Kristina, if you want to join me, 1, 2, 3. Go Bears!
Bears!
Okay, thank you everyone, and have a great day.